Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Mangesh Dushing, working as an assistant professor in chemistry. Friends, up to now, in last videos we saw classification of isomers, structural isomers, conformational isomers of cyclic alkanes as well as acyclic alkanes. Then we saw geometrical isomerism. The links provided into the comment box. You can follow that one. In this video, we will learn about optical isomerism. Friends, before going into the details, we will learn some basic concepts which are useful to know about optical isomerism. Friends, as we know that ordinary light is a transverse wave motion. Ordinary light consists of rays of different wavelengths vibrating in different planes which are perpendicular to its path of propagation. For example, the center of these arrows is a path of propagation. It's a narrow beam of light which consists of many wavelengths which vibrates perpendicular to this path of propagation, as this center is a path of propagation. If this transverse wave we passed through a filter or monochromator, then only one wavelength which comes out, that is called as monochromatic light. A light of one color which consists single wavelength with vibration taking place in all planes perpendicular to the path of propagation is called as monochromatic light. So this is the center of these all arrows. This is the path of propagation, and these are the waves which are vibrates in all the directions but perpendicular to this path of propagation. Now we will learn about plane polarized light. When a monochromatic light is passed through a Nicol prism, the transmitted light vibrates only in one plane which is perpendicular to its path of propagation. Is called as plane polarized light. For example, this is the monochromatic light whose waves vibrates in all the directions perpendicular to this path of propagation. Now if this monochromatic light is passed through a Nicol prism, then whatever the light which is come out from this Nicol prism, where these all vibrations vibrates in only one plane, then this light is called as plane polarized light. Now this plane polarized light, if you pass through some organic compound solution like sugar or lactic acid, then this plane polarized light rotates either towards the left hand side or right hand side. That property of the solution or substance to rotate a plane polarized light is called as optical activity. A property of the compound which rotates the plane of plane polarized light is called as optical activity, and such substance is called as optically active substance. Friends, when this monochromatic light, that is plane polarized light, it's passed through a solution of organic substance like sugar or lactic acid, the light which is coming out from the solution, that is still a plane polarized light, but that plane of plane polarized light is slightly gets rotates. Now it rotates either clockwise or anti-clockwise. According to that, the organic substances are classified into two classes. First one is dextrorotatory substances. If the optically active compound rotates the plane of plane polarized light to the right hand side or clockwise direction, it is called as dextrorotatory substances or compounds, and it is denoted by the sign small d or by plus sign. This is the clockwise direction by angle theta. Second substance says, if the optically active compound rotates the plane of plane polarized light to the left or in an anti-clockwise direction, is called as levorotatory compounds, and it is denoted by the small l or by negative sign. So this type of substances which rotates the plane of plane polarized light to the left hand side or anti-clockwise, those substances are called as levorotatory substances. But the substance who doesn't rotate the plane of plane polarized light, those substances are called as optically inactive substances or compounds. Next concept is specific rotation. It is a number of degrees of rotation caused by the solution of 1 gram compound per ml of solution in a tube 10 centimeter long at a specific temperature and wavelength of the light. That is given by the formula alpha at constant temperature and lambda, that is wavelength, is equal to theta upon L into C. So alpha is the specific rotation in degrees, T is the temperature in degrees Celsius, lambda that is the wavelength, theta is the observed rotation in degrees, L is the width of the sample tube, that is path length is around 10 centimeter, and C is the concentration of the solution in gram per ml. Now we will see about enantiomerism and their discovery. Friends, the phenomenon of optical activity was discovered by the French physicist J.B. Biot in 1815. After that, Louis Pasteur in 1860 studied the optical activity of the sodium ammonium tartrate crystals. He isolated the crystals and he saw that these crystals are not same. These are two types of crystals. By using glasses, he actually and physically separated these two types of crystals. And what he observed that these crystals are mirror images of each other. Then he made a solution and he passed a plane polarized light from that solution. And what he observed that each type of crystal rotates the plane of plane polarized light with the same angle but in opposite direction. The mixture of equal proportion of these two types of crystals and its solution was found optically inactive, that is racemic mixture. So the solution of mixture of these two types of crystals which doesn't rotate the plane of plane polarized light, so he found that that mixture of the two types of crystals is optically inactive. Then in 1874, Van 't Hoff and Levell proposed independently but simultaneously that the 4 valences of carbon are directed towards the corner of regular tetrahedron with bond angle 109.5 degrees. This green is a regular tetrahedron and we know that carbon with 4 valences. So carbon is the center of this regular tetrahedron and its 4 valences are on the carbon of this regular tetrahedron. The angle between any two bonds, that is bond angle, is 109.5 degrees. Such compound exists in two different arrangements which are non-superimposable mirror images of each other. These mirror images are called as enantiomers. So enantiomers are the stereoisomers which are non-superimposable mirror images of each other. Since they differ from one another by in the way of atoms oriented in a space, enantiomers belong to general class stereoisomers. So enantiomers are the stereoisomers. Their molecular formula is same, but the difference in only the atoms orientation in a space is called as enantiomers. Now we will see the causes of optical activity. Van 't Hoff and Levell in 1874 proposed that whenever any molecule is non-superimposable with its mirror image is optically active, and any molecule which is superimposable with its mirror image is optically inactive. Molecules that are not superimposable mirror images are chiral, and the chirality is a necessary and sufficient condition for the existence of enantiomer. So what they Bandt and Lebel said, chirality is the necessary and sufficient condition for existence of enantiomers. Then what is chirality and what is chiral center and what is chiral carbon? Definition is in here. Asymmetric carbon atom or chiral center. A carbon atom to which 4 different atoms or group of atoms are attached is called as asymmetric carbon or chiral center. This is the conditions. The optically active substance must contain a chiral center. See here, this is the compound where this carbon is a chiral carbon or chiral center to which 4 different atoms or group of atoms have been attached. This is the example of second molecule, that is 2-chlorobutane. The second carbon, which has 4 different atoms or group of atoms are attached. That's why this is a chiral compound which is optically active compound. Now this is a compound which contains 2 chiral centers. This carbon is also chiral center which contains 4 atoms or group of atoms have been attached. So this is a large group, OH, COH and CH3, all 4 are different. Same case over here, CH3, COH, OH, and this is the bigger group. So there are 2 chiral centers, so this is optically active substance. But even though this compound contains 2 chiral center, but this compound is optically inactive. So presence of asymmetric carbon atom or chiral center is an indication for the optical active substance, but this is not compulsory, even though the compounds which contains a chiral center but optically inactive. And there are some compounds which doesn't contain chiral center or asymmetric carbon atom, but still these compounds are optically active. So only one criteria is there to being optically active or optically inactive. So the compounds whose mirror images are superimposable, those compounds are optically inactive substances. But the compound whose mirror images are non-superimposable, those compounds are called as optical active substances. So this is the main criteria to make a compounds optical active. Now enantiomers, stereoisomers which are non-superimposable mirror images of each other and rotates the plane of plane polarized light equally but in opposite direction are called as enantiomers. So enantiomers are the stereoisomers which are non-superimposable mirror images. The compounds containing asymmetric carbon atom are capable of existing isomeric form. The number of isomers are given by the formula A is equal to raised to n. So A is the number of isomers and n is the number of chiral centers. If n is 1, means if only one chiral center is there, then 2 raised to 1, that is 2. So 2 isomers are possible. So this is the example, 2-methyl-butanol, where only one chiral center is there. So it has a 2 isomers. So these are the 2 isomers which are mirror images of each other. Now we will see the properties of enantiomers. So these are the 2 compounds, compound 1 and compound 2 are the enantiomers of each other. The compound name is 2-methyl-1-butanol. So first property is that enantiomers have identical physical properties except the direction of rotation of the plane of plane polarized light. See the table. So compound 1 and compound 2 are the enantiomers, isomers of each other. See the boiling points are same. So both enantiomers, physical points like boiling point, refractive indices, relative densities are same. Even the quantity of specific rotation is also same, that is 5.9, 5.9. But the direction is opposite. This is clockwise and this one is anti-clockwise. So all the physical properties of enantiomers are same except the direction of rotation, the sign of specific rotation. Enantiomers have identical chemical properties except towards the chiral or optically active reagents. So their chemical properties are also same. Exception is only chiral and optically active reagents. Now how to differentiate between these two structures, which is which one, which is compound number first and which is compound number second. So that is given by the concept that is called as configuration. The arrangement of atoms that characterizes the particular stereoisomer is called as configuration. For example, see these two enantiomers. If you want to go chlorine, ethyl and methyl, so this arrangement is anticlockwise. Same if you want to go from chlorine, ethyl and methyl, now in this case that is clockwise. So this is called as configuration. So configuration is of can be shown by the two methods. One is relative configuration, that is capital D and capital L configuration, and second one is absolute configuration, that is specific or RS configuration. First we will see relative configuration. The configuration which are determined by the configuration of the molecule with that of arbitrary chosen reference molecule are known as relative configuration. So relative configuration, in short, the configuration of the molecule is determined with reference to the another reference molecule. Most of the times, this is the old convention system for denoting the configuration as DL. Generally, D-glyceraldehyde is used as a reference molecule. This is the structure of D-glyceraldehyde, Fischer projection formula. This is the chiral center. This OH towards the right hand side. If this OH is towards the right hand side, then this is called as D-glyceraldehyde. This is the reference molecule. By using this reference molecule, you can calculate the configuration for another molecules. But if this OH is towards the left hand side, then this is called as L-glyceraldehyde. The D and L configuration nomenclature is applicable to the molecules where OH is replaced by halogens like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, then amine, thiol, sulfonic acid functional group. So this can be determined if OH is replaced by this electronegative group or atoms. See, these are the compounds D-ribose and D-xylose. These are the 5 carbon sugar, pentose sugar, 1, 2, 3, 4 and carbon number 5. So 4th carbon, this is the last chiral center, this OH is towards the right hand side, that's why this is called as D sugar. Same case over here, this OH, last chiral center, that OH is towards the right hand side, that's why this is called as D-xylose. If this OH is on the left hand side, then that can be called as L sugar. If this OH towards the left hand side, then can be called as L sugar. But it cannot determine the configuration of this remaining OH. It doesn't give you the idea of this OH, where it is either left or right. So it has a limitations. To overcome this one, absolute configuration is there. So the description which gives the arrangement of 4 groups in a space attached to the chiral center is known as absolute configuration. Kahn, Ingold and Prelog in 1951 gives the priority rule and RS configuration to the chiral center. R stands for Latin term rectus, meaning right handed, and S stands for Latin term sinister, meaning it's left handed. Now we will learn about RS system. This is the reference molecule, that is CWXYZ. Step first, that is arrange the group attached to the chiral center in order to the sequence rule. By using the sequence rule, you have to arrange these 4 atoms or group of atoms to the chiral center. Suppose the sequence is W, X, Y and Z. Highest priority to the W and least priority to the Z. See, this is the sequence. Suppose W is more than X is more than Y is more than Z. Second step is that view the molecule in such a way that the lowest priority group is going away from us or going behind the plane, and the remaining 3 groups comes to us or above the plane. So you have to see this molecule in such a way that the lowest priority group should be away from us. For example, like this. So Z is the lowest priority group. So you have to see this molecule, tetrahedral molecule, in such a way that this lowest priority group is away from the observer if you are the observer. Now see, these 3 groups are coming towards the U. Now see these 3 groups according to the priority 1, 2 and 3. Clockwise or anti-clockwise? This is clockwise. If that is clockwise, then that is called as R configuration. In other isomer, again you have to see that isomer in such a way that lower priority group should go away from the observer or below the plane. So remaining 3 groups comes to the observer, and then see the priority for 3 groups 1, 2 and 3. Clockwise or anti-clockwise? Anti-clockwise. If that is anti-clockwise, the configuration is S. So CIP rules, that is Kahn, Ingold and Prelog, gives the sequence rule for the atoms or group of atoms. We will learn those rules first. Listen students, these rules nobody asks into the examination, but you have to know these rules and you should apply these rules while assigning the R and S configuration. First rule is according to the atomic number. The atoms or group of atoms are arranged in order to decreasing the atomic numbers of the atoms directly attached to the chiral center. Highest atomic number is assigned first priority and the lowest atomic number is assigned as a fourth priority. For example, this is the molecule. So this carbon is a chiral carbon. It has 4 different atoms are attached. So this is the chiral atom. Those atoms are iodine, bromine and chlorine and hydrogen. So these are the regular atoms which are used into the organic chemistry. At least we should know the atomic numbers of these atoms. Iodine 53, Br 35, Cl 17, S 16, sulfur 16, phosphorus 15, fluorine 9, oxygen 8, nitrogen 7, carbon 6 and hydrogen 1. Now you have to give the priority according to the atomic number. Highest atomic number assign a first priority. So here iodine, bromine and chlorine, hydrogen. Iodine has a higher atomic number, so it will get a first priority. Then bromine 35 atomic number, so second priority, and then chlorine, the atomic number is 17, and hydrogen is the smallest atom in the periodic table, so it's always get a fourth priority. So in this way we have to give the priority and write like priority order. Iodine is more than Br is more than Cl is more than hydrogen. Second rule is if the atomic numbers are same. If 2 atoms are directly bonded to the chiral carbon are isotope of the same element, then atom with higher mass number has a highest priority. Suppose a chiral center, whatever the carbon atom to which 3 atoms are attached like tritium, deuterium and hydrogen, that is protium. So the atomic number of 3 atoms is same. Then you have to give the priority according to their mass number. Like tritium mass number is 3, so higher priority. Then deuterium because mass number is 2. Then protium, the mass number is only 1. Third rule is that next atom. If the identical atoms are attached to the chiral carbon, if the identical atoms are attached to the chiral carbon, then the priority is determined by comparing their atomic numbers of the next set of atoms according to atomic numbers of next set of atoms. For example, this is the molecule. Now this is the chiral center to which these 4 different group of atoms are attached: CH3, CH2OH, CH2, CH3 and H. H is the least atomic number, then it will get a 4th priority. But to this carbon atom, the first atom attached is carbon, 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 whose atomic numbers are 6, same, mass number are same. In this case, you have to go for next set of atoms, that is next 3 atoms which are attached to this carbon. So to this carbon atom, 3 atoms are attached. Those are hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. To this carbon, next atoms are attached, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. But we have to write in such a way that decreasing atomic number. So first you have to write the oxygen, hydrogen, hydrogen. So in this way. To this carbon, next 3 atoms are hydrogen, hydrogen and carbon. But you have to write in a decreasing atomic number. So first you have to write like carbon, hydrogen and hydrogen. Then you have to compare the first atom. First atom is hydrogen, oxygen and carbon. So whose atomic number is higher? Oxygen 8, which is higher than hydrogen 1 and carbon 6. So CH2OH will get the first priority. Then carbon, so CH2CH3 will get the second priority. Then CH3 third priority, and hydrogen, the least atomic number, will get the 4th priority. So priority order you have to write like this: CH2OH more than CH2CH3, then more than CH3, more than proton. Fourth rule is groups containing the multiple bonds. If the groups directly bonded to the chiral carbon containing double or triple bond, it is considered to be equivalent to 2 or 3 single bonds with the same atom respectively. So multiple bond you have to consider as a multiple single bonds with that respective atom. For example, this is the aldehyde group. So at least you should know the functional group and their bonding. This aldehyde group in example may they ask like CHO, acid like COOH. So you should know the functional group. So this is the functional group that is called as aldehyde. So bonding is like that: C double bonded oxygen and hydrogen. So next 3 atoms are likewise. So carbon attached to the oxygen with 2 single bonds. See, you have to consider it like this: the carbon attached to that oxygen with single bond, and this is the hydrogen. So 3 atoms of this next carbon is oxygen, oxygen, hydrogen. You have to write these atoms in a decreasing atomic number fashion. This is the next functional group now, that is carboxylic acid functional group. To this carbon, double bonded oxygen and single bonded oxygen. So this double bonded oxygen you have to consider like 2 single bonds to the oxygen molecule, oxygen atom. So these are the 2 single bonds with the oxygen atom, and this is that single oxygen. So you have to write these 3 atoms in likewise oxygen, oxygen and oxygen. Next is pH. So pH is not a phenol, it's a phenyl ring. Phenyl ring means benzene ring. So this chiral carbon is attached to this carbon, right? If that carbon is same, then go for next 3 atoms. So which are the next 3 atoms of this carbon? So this carbon is attached to next carbon with double bond, and here is single bond. So this double bond means you have to consider as a carbon, carbon, carbon. So this 2 carbon and this third carbon. So carbon, carbon, carbon. If that is a acetylenic group, means carbon, carbon, triple bond, then you have to consider this carbon attached to this carbon with the 3 single bonds. Likewise, so next 3 atoms are carbon, carbon, carbon. If that is cyanide group, this carbon attached to the nitrogen with triple bond, then this triple bond we have to consider as a 3 single bonds to this nitrogen. So likewise 1, 2 and 3. So next 3 atoms are nitrogen, nitrogen, nitrogen. If that group is nitro group, now this is the structure of nitro group, that is N double bond N and N single bond, N double bond O and N double single bond O. So this is the structure of nitro group. So this double bond we have to consider as a 2 single bond to this oxygen. So likewise nitrogen oxygen single bond, nitrogen oxygen single bond, nitrogen oxygen single bond. So next 3 atoms attached to that nitrogen are oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. Now we have to apply these rules to find out the RS configuration of the compounds. If the compounds given in the Fischer-Tropsch formula, how to find out the RS configuration? So some rules are there. Fischer-Tropsch formula is written in such a way that the group of lowest priority group is at the bottom. So that is the convention of Fischer-Tropsch formula. That is, lowest priority group should be at the bottom. If the lowest priority group is at the bottom, it is arranged by the changing the position of group as below. If that lowest priority group is not at the bottom, you have to arrange the remaining groups in such a way that lowest priority group comes to the bottom. So how to change? If we interchange any 2 groups once, then we will get the enantiomer of the starting. If we interchange twice, we will get the original compounds, original enantiomer. That's why while interchanging the group, we should interchange 2 times so that we will get the original compounds. So 2 interchanges are must. How to do these 2 interchanges? So next 2 rules are very important. In the first exchange, always bring the lowest priority group at the bottom. And in second exchange, bring that second priority group on the top. So first interchange is to make the lower priority group at the bottom, and second interchange is for making the second priority group on the top. But if second group is already on the top, then exchange the position of first and third priority group. As we know that 2 exchanges are must to get the original enantiomer. So this is very important. Nobody asks the rules, but you should know while assigning the RS configuration in a Fischer-Tropsch formula. What is that? You have to interchange the group of the chiral center if lowest priority group is not at the bottom. If that is already on the bottom, then you need not do the exchanges of atoms or group of atoms on the chiral center. Exchange is very important only if the lowest priority group is not at the bottom. For example, this is the compound. Now this is the chiral carbon. It has 4 atoms are attached: Br, iodine, chlorine and hydrogen. Now hydrogen is on the horizontal group. Horizontal line groups in a Fischer-Tropsch formula means those are above the plane. So you have to make it on the vertical line bottom. So 2 interchanges are must over here. First, you have to give the priority according to the atomic number. So those atoms are iodine, Cl, Br and hydrogen. So iodine highest atomic number will get the first priority, then bromine 35 atomic number will get the second priority, then chlorine atomic number is 17, so it will get third priority, and then hydrogen least atomic number, that is 1, so priority is always fourth. So fourth priority group is on the horizontal line, means above the plane. You have to bring it at the bottom, below the plane. For that purpose you have to do two exchanges must. So before that you have to write this priority order. Iodine is more than Br is more than chlorine is more than hydrogen. Now you have to do the first interchange. First interchange is for making a fourth priority group at the bottom. So fourth priority group and third priority group you have to exchange. So chlorine you have to write at the hydrogen position and hydrogen position, so you have to write at the chlorine positions. Remaining groups you have to keep as it is. Only the exchange in between hydrogen and the bottom group. So you will get this compound. Now second interchanges you have to do, because two interchanges are must. So in a second interchange you have to bring a second priority group on the top, but if you look at this, second priority group is already on the top, but second interchange is must. Then you have to exchange the position of 1 and 3. So exchange the position of 1 and 3. So chlorine instead of iodine and iodine instead of chlorine. Likewise. Now fourth group is already at the bottom. Now you have to see the three groups, 1, 2 and 3. Clockwise or anti-clockwise? That is clockwise. If that is clockwise, then this configuration is called as R configuration. Now we will see the another example. Now this is another example. This carbon is a chiral carbon where 4 different atoms or group of atoms have been attached. Now you have to see the first atom. First atom is carbon, first atom is hydrogen, first atom is oxygen, first atom is oxygen. So hydrogen will get the last priority, carbon will get the third priority, because oxygen, both oxygens having higher atomic number than the carbon. So out of these two oxygens, who will get the first priority? So oxygen go for the next atom. Next atom is hydrogen over here, while here is carbon. So it will get the first priority. Then it will get the second priority. Then this is the third, this is the fourth. Now fourth priority group is on the horizontal line, but in Fischer-Tropsch formula it should be at the bottom for assigning the RS configuration. So you have to exchange. So first exchange, before that one you have to write the priority order, that is OCH3 is more than OH is more than CH3 is more than H. So first interchange you have to do, first interchange is to make a fourth priority group at the bottom. So you have to exchange with this first priority group and fourth priority group, and then you have to write the molecule. The remaining groups you should write as it is, CH3 as it is, OH as it is. There is exchange between only first and fourth group is at the bottom now, and first group is on the side. Now you have to do the second interchange. Second interchange is to make second priority group on the top. Second interchange is for bringing the second priority group on the top. So third priority group is on the top. So you have to exchange the position of second and third only. Remaining priority groups remains as it is on their position. Now fourth priority group is at the bottom. Then you have to see the first three groups, either that is clockwise or anti-clockwise. So 1, 2 and 3, that is anti-clockwise. So this isomer is called as S isomer or S configuration. In this way you have to assign the configuration. This is the another example. See here, this is the chiral center to which these 4 different groups are attached: fluorine, cyano group, nitro group and acetylene group. Now you have to give the priority. So you have to think the atomic number, whose atomic number is higher. Fluorine is 9, nitrogen is 7 and this carbon are 6. So fluorine must get the first priority. Then nitrogen, because nitrogen atomic number is more than carbons. Now here 2 carbons. So go for the next atoms. So Cn means C triple bond N and this is C triple bond C. C triple bond C means this triple bond you have to consider as a 3 carbon atoms, right? 3 single bonds to this carbon atom. So these 3 atoms are like carbon, carbon, carbon. So this triple bond is considered as a 3 single bonds with the carbon. So those next 3 atoms you should write likewise carbon, carbon, carbon. Now for this cyano group means carbon triple bond N. So this carbon triple bond N you have to consider as a 3 single bonds with the nitrogen. So next 3 atoms are nitrogen, nitrogen, nitrogen. So compare the first atom, whose atomic number is higher? Nitrogen. See here, first atom is carbon, first atom is nitrogen. Whose atomic number is higher? Nitrogen. So it will get the third priority, while this will get the fourth priority. Now fourth priority group is not at the bottom, so you must have to do the 2 interchanges. So first interchange, before that one you have to write the priority order. Fluorine is more than, nitro is more than, cyano is more than acetylenic group. So first interchange is to make the 4 priority group at the bottom. So exchange between third and fourth. Remaining groups are same. First and second will be same. The exchange is between only 3 and 4. Now second interchange is to must. So second interchange is to make second priority group on the top. But top position is of first priority group. So there will be the exchange between first and second only. Third and fourth remains as it is. So exchange between 1 and 2. So you will get this configuration. Now fourth group is at the bottom. See first 3 groups, that is 1, 2 and 3. Clockwise or anti-clockwise? That is clockwise. So configuration will be R. Yes, R configuration. So friends, in this way we saw some definitions like enantiomers, optical activity, optical active substances, Liouville substances, dextrorotatory substances, CIP rules, priority rules, assignment of R and S configuration. Friends, up to now we have completed the optical isomerism, which contains optical isomers of containing only one chiral centers. In next video we will see the optical isomers which contains 2 chiral centers. Till that, thank you so much for the watching. If you like this video, just like, share and subscribe. Thank you.